So I do have the pleasure of introducing our next industry champion, Dr. Richard Bennett from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. So Dick and I have known each other for coming up on just about 20 years now. And so I know a number of you in the room do know Dick. You've interacted with him either on the national scale. He's very active within the Masonry Society, within different types of national organizations. He's also very active at the regional side, so those within the SCMA group, I'm sure are very familiar with Dick. But for those that don't know Dick, I do want to give you guys a little bit of background because he is one of these individuals that's kind of got his fingers in a lot of different things within, across the masonry industry. And he's one of these very ardent yet very humbled type of individuals out there advocating for us, within the masonry industry. As I kind of sort of try to think through what's the new information or what's the information I can kind of give you guys in terms of a big picture snapshot of Dick. I did start talking to a number of you guys that know and worked with Dick for a number of years. Steve Barry gave me some of the best information. He said, there's this new thing out there called the internet. And so I went to the internet. And so for those that are over 30 years old, I'll give you a couple of clues that professors nowadays get to work with. So one is called ratemyprofessor.com. Have you guys heard of this? I'm sure Dick has heard of this, right? It's a legit website. You can go there. So if you're even a recent college graduate, you can go there and you can look and see what the current students at your university are saying about the professors that are out there. But I thought, what better unbiased source of information to give you a couple of ideas in terms of what does the general population, what does the student population think of Dr. Richard Bennett? So I do have some actual quotes here I did want to bring up to you guys. And I did sterilize this. I did have to run it by Bob. And Bob said, no, you can't use some of those. But the ones that I can share with you is, Bennett is the freaking man. Bennett saved my life. Super cool guy. He is the GOAT. And probably my personal favorite is he's never said something that wasn't genius or hilarious. And every day, his words would pour over me like a never-ending Bennett shower. I think that was an architecture student, because that would not be engineering, right? So some of the stuff that I have worked with Dick on over the years, you guys all know about direct design, right? So Dick was in the weeds of creating this TMS 403 standard that was the genesis of our direct design software. So you may not have heard some of those stories, but he has been involved with a number of things that we as an industry not only just need to advance our industry, but he recognizes some of the drivers that are out there in the marketplace, and not just brings them back to his classroom in terms of a practical communication education experience for his students, but he also works with us as an industry to try to bring his knowledge and his technical expertise to us in a very practical manner as well. So more recently, he engaged with us in developing the entirely new veneer provisions for TMS 402. That's the anchored and adhered veneer requirements that are working its way through the code development process. And you saw Daryl's take on the code development process. It's pretty much dead on. He's also going to be working both with the US and Canadian teams. So this year we have what we call the CANIS Summit, which is short for Canadian-US Design Comparison Summit. So the Canadians in the room, we're kind of teaming up, and we recognize that we both have very similar concrete or masonry industries, but we have very different codes and standards, even though they're all kind of based upon the same sort of research. And so we're bringing the experts both from the US and Canada together, and of course Dick was top of my personal list to try to invite and get to that summit, because he just brings so much background, so much knowledge from his practical experience. So I'll kind of summarize up, and before I invite Dick up, I'll give you a couple of personal stories from him. This is not his first time to the Pacific Northwest. For those that were alive back in 1980, you guys remember what happened in the spring of 1980 in this area? We had a very large mountain that went on a diet overnight and blew up and put a whole bunch of ash in the air. So that was Mount St. Helens. So So even though I was a fairly young kid, that was a very memorable experience for me growing up in Washington. And Dick happened to say, you know what, I'm young, I got the time, I'm gonna ride my bike from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, when Mount St. Helens blows up. But he made it, right? You guys all know, like, I like beer. You know, Dick likes Chinese beer. I guess we all have our demons to bear. But he does hate wood. So that's always a good thing for us as well. So with that, let me invite up Dr. Richard Bennett.
Wow, well, thank you. When I got the call that I received this award, I was very surprised, very humbled, very honored, very thankful. So thanks for the award. Thanks for just the chance to work with your industry. It's really been good. As Daryl mentioned, Tennessee is big on orange, so thanks for orange. Super Bowl Vowels, go NCMA. Something, I don't know what to say about Rate My Professor. I will tell you one story. This wasn't planned. I'll tell you one story on this one. My middle daughter, I have 3 daughters, was at UT. She was not in engineering, but of course some of her friends were there. I was walking by one day, and one of my daughter's friends saw her. And she said to me, "Oh, I put a good review on Rate My Professor for you." I said, "You've never had me in class." She said, "Oh, it doesn't matter, I just like you." So I don't know if those reviews are... Some of them may not be true. So, got my start in masonry actually as a young, relatively in high school really. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, was working at a camp sort of outside of Cleveland. Did a lot of things there, so did maintenance work and stuff. So I had the job a couple summers of mixing mortar by hand and hauling block. And sort of decided I didn't want to really do that for a career. But it was a very good experience in hindsight, just to actually have that very basic sort of just mixing mortar. Unfortunately, a lot of students, I never had a course, any instruction in masonry, in my bachelor's, master's, PhD, none at all, which is really very unfortunate. I got involved in masonry. We're near Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Department of Energy facility, so they had some steel frame structures with this unreinforced clay tile infill. Sort of a strange system here, concerned about earthquakes. I got involved in that. That sort of made me interested in masonry. So I started learning about more regular, as it were, masonry, concrete block and stuff, and just really enjoyed it. Started to get involved in some of the societies, the professional societies, and started teaching it, and just got involved in the code. And 3 things sort of excite me. I'm sort of, I guess, the epitome of a nerdy engineer. I really enjoy teaching, I really enjoy structural engineering, and I really enjoy working with good people. And it's all sort of come together in the industry here. I do teach a masonry course. Really want to acknowledge particularly the Southeast Concrete and Masonry Association.